All right, November 1st, 2021. This show isn't focused, Kirk says. I think this show is plenty focused, if you ask me. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect on a wrap-up show that I'm doing where I can't think and put words together? And by the way, speaking of that, callers on the show, you guys have already heard it, so I'm not spoiling anything. You can't put me on the spot for any trivia question in like a 5-second time frame. I need time. All right. Have you not gotten that yet? All right. And by the way, K is probably the only, Kenya is probably the only country that starts with a K in Africa. That's fucking bullshit. All right. If you said N, I would have said Nigeria in probably 8 seconds. Probably 8 seconds it would have taken me. But that's, it's bullshit. I think you would have known that by now, caller. But you just want to put me on the spot and embarrass me, and I get it. You had your fun. We'll move on. It is what it is. But that should be a rule, by the way. I should never be put on the spot unless I have more than at minimum 15 seconds of time to think about it, and I probably still need more. All right? So that's just it. My memory is off. All right? Just give me some time. So, all right, today's show, we're working through the schedule for next week. It actually kind of played out live. I guess he asked Ryan Whitney to come in, so I think I gotta check back. I gotta listen to the audio. I think he said Wednesday it would be Ryan Whitney. I'll listen back to it and see, and then I'll text him. But today's show we covered. Obviously, we had to cover the Alec Baldwin stuff. And by the way, like not a lot of new stuff in that. Like I think we're just waiting. It's probably the right move is just waiting out the investigation because nothing new. I read this Los Angeles Times story that came out last night, and it's just like there's a lot more sources that they had and unnamed sources from the production crew and all this shit. But I think it was just saying the same shit. I think the only thing new was that there was ammunition that was out, but the guns were in a safe. So I don't know. At the end of the day, how the fuck did a live round get in that gun? And we're probably not going to know until the investigation is complete. It seems to me like one person who wanted to do some target practice or whatever the fuck. Remember we heard about the lunch and they were doing this. It seems like these guns were in the safe, so they were fine, I believe. Unless I'm like mixing this stuff up, which I could be because I've read enough about it and it's just regurgitated at this point. But it just seems like one person is hiding. You did it. So why don't we just move this process along unless they already know and we don't know for some reason. But I don't know. That's my assumption because why would just one be left in there? I don't know. The armorer is denying it. The prop master, I don't believe, has said anything, but I don't think they're involved in any way. And then, obviously the assistant director has taken his blame. But we talked about how Alec Baldwin was being followed and then stopped on the side of the road to take questions from basically the paparazzi, which is like, I guess it's to be expected. I brought that up. Is it weird to try to find Alec Baldwin while he's like seeking, let's just call it like relief from this situation? Because I played that Maddie in the Morning Sound on Friday. I didn't think it was weird on Friday, and then they actually get it, and he's so pissed off. But then on the flip side is like he handled himself well. I don't know if they'll leave him alone, but he kind of just said like, this is what I can say. Here it is. There's nothing else I can do for you, so you might as well stop following me. So he didn't, I agree with Mike. He didn't say anything out of the ordinary or anything like that. I thought he handled himself well. I think that was that Saturday morning that came out there. His wife though, she just comes off like such a fucking attention-seeking human being. She clearly, I read that Instagram post from last night, kind of making it about her. She's got to be there front and center, whether it be, interrupting him or whatever. It just seems very dramatic from her end. She's got a husband who hosts podcasts, who's a very well-known actor. All these different things that he can handle himself in that situation. I would think, unless she's trying to seek attention, which is what she's trying to do. She didn't need to be a part of that in any form, but whatever. So we talked about that a little bit. But like I said, nothing really new has come out in that story, which is strange. I would think more information would have been out by now, but they're, I don't know, they're tight-lipped about this situation, the investigation at least. So, other topics we talked about Jerry Remy, who passed away yesterday at the age of 68, Rem Dog. Red Sox play-by-play, television play-by-play color guy for, how many years? A long time. Played for the Red Sox as well, second baseman. Clearly, I remember growing up listening to Jerry Remy and thought him and Orsillo were probably the best play-by-play duo I've ever heard. I think Kirk said like they weren't that great. I don't know. I think they were great because they had fun with it, whatever. I can't really remember Kirk's take on that, but It just got cloudy with me once the Jared Remy stuff happened. Maybe because I was older, and maybe because, you know, at that time I was working in radio and it was talk radio. Maybe that just kind of like clouded my judgment or my brain. But that's like kind of what the first thing, if you say his name, that's the first thing I think of. So it is, it's kind of crazy, but it is a big loss. Obviously he came out before, I think that was the wild card game with the Yankees. And he had the ventilator and all that stuff. So it was kind of, I think everybody at that point, at least people in the know, probably knew what was going on there. Kirk brought up that the Red Sox, Nesson took a while to tweet about it. We brought up the Maria Stefanos tweet, which is just, it's always strange like that people do that. Like, you don't need to go into the personal, maybe sharing a picture is about as personal as you need to get in that spot, but to like screenshot a text message and be like, oh, I just talked to him the other day. Like, I don't know. It's just very, very strange move by Maria Stefanos from WCBB. But other stuff we got to today, we checked back in with Justin, by the way. Justin, who's got a podcast coming out, who Mike is going to be heartbroken. He is gone all next week. Justin's saying that his new podcast will be out this week, he expects, with Mark. And we got to track down Mark. That's first and foremost. But Justin's going to say, what was it called again? I titled the episode it as it uploads here. Does that sound bad to you? Long title there, but I like it. I think Justin will just have fun with whatever he's doing there. So it'd be funny to listen to that. I'm sure. I don't know what else to add to it. I think his tweets have been funny. I agree with Mike. Like, anything random out of Justin is just funny to me. So I love that idea of, you know, he tweets about deer overpopulation, does an entire podcast about it, and then doesn't solve it. If he can come up with once a week, that'd be tough to do that once a week, maybe. I don't even know. Maybe if that could be like a once a month version of that podcast, that could be pretty funny. So, but always good to check in with Justin, who changed his Twitter handle. KMS is out of it. I hope he didn't think that he was like shamed out of it, because clearly he's still a fan, still involved, big part of the history. We're naming that studio after him, well deserved. So yep, but we caught up with him, and yeah, that's it. So. All right, we'll catch back up with you later in the week here. I will. Like I said, we'll figure out the schedule for next week when Mike is out. I will text Ryan Whitney at some point when I get done here, and we'll figure that out. I believe he said Jared Carabas is coming back, so next week is an interesting week. Quantum Week Chris, I probably have to see what his schedule looks like, because he might have, maybe he has to change days or things like that. So we'll see what that looks like. All right, so we'll talk to you again on Wednesday. We will be back. This week is normal, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we'll see you then.